I think many of my peers, or here especially in America, many are on an impression that most of the concentration camps were only for Jews. The fact is that as far as the percentages are concerned, Jews were a very small percentage. For instance, in our camp in Melk and in Ebensee, I would say maybe, this is a very rough estimate, maybe the Jewish population numbered maybe around maybe 30 or 40%. There were French prisoners, there were a tremendous number of Russian prisoners. Some of the Russian prisoners actually should have been they were I would say captured in the war, and should have been in the prison camps for war prison camps. But why they brought them into the concentration camp, I am not sure. There were Greeks, many different nationalities, and of course there were some gypsies also. It so happened that one of our capos or lookouts there for in the Melk was his name was Fritz, and he happened to be a gypsy. He was probably in his late 30s. I think every time I think of him, he was a pretty fair individual. He was not out and out murderer like some of the others, of the other capos that have been in charge of many other barracks. And the only ones that really showed anti-Semitism, even in those circumstances, even if we're all basically in the same situation, were some of the French prisoners. I remember many French prisoners just spit out a lot of hatred toward Jews, even though I couldn't understand much of their language, but I knew what they were spitting was anti-Semitism or hatred towards Jewish prisoners. So, but from any of the other nationalities, I don't remember any time encountering any anti-Semitic, I would say, slurs or approach, so forth. So, basically, it is a mistake to think that, of course, that basically all the ghettos in Poland were 100% or maybe 99% Jewish, but concentration camps were accumulation or a combination maybe of 10, 15, 20 different nationalities from different countries. The man who handed me my number in Mauthausen, 68818, fixed on a piece of cloth with ink pen that I had to sew onto my jacket. I looked at him, and he happened to be a colored person, African, I imagine. Why? This is the first time in my life that I laid my eyes on somebody of that color. I've never seen a African or a colored person before in my life. He was the only one in Mauthausen. I didn't see any, maybe a pair or a brother of his or any relative. He was the only one that happened to be of that color. And so basically, this was another one that I have encountered. And as life went on, as we were assigned to certain barracks, we always, encountered different nationalities. But usually, most of the Jewish prisoners, especially that came from a certain part of Hungary, always try to see if they can sort of stick together, and also have put up their but there was no belongings that anybody had, but trying to arrange that the bunks that we were sleeping on, usually was in the neighborhood of people that came from the same area, or people that we had some kind of a connection to and relationship. They did bring in once, for some reason or other, and milk. One morning they put in our barracks 4 American, healthy-looking, strong boys. Unfortunately, I remember this quite clearly, that we could not communicate because there was not one individual in our barracks that would speak English, and they did not speak any other language except English. But we understood by the emotions and questions, so forth, that they just parachuted down from a plane that was shot down that morning. In other words, it wasn't too many hours before that they left their base in England on a bombing mission. Now, again, why they have brought them into our camp and put them up in our barracks, what was their sin, or why not put them in a prisoner of war camp, I am not aware of, I don't know. Unfortunately, I think that 3 didn't last very long. I heard that they, after about 3 or 4 weeks, they were either killed or they died of natural causes. But there was only 1 left that I remember, but after the 3 of them were gone, eventually somebody came in and fetched the other one and took him out of our barracks, and we never saw him again. So, but it was a little bit of I think for us to get some news where the war was going, even though we could not actually have a real conversation, but in sign language and so forth, somehow we understood that things are not going very well for the Germans.